Witcher 3 gets a free major update on the 14th of December at last, giving the game a proper release on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S consoles, and equally, it enhances the PC version with a suite of long-awaited upgrades too, including ray tracing support. The fact of the matter is though, The Witcher 3 was released all the way back in 2015. A lot's happened since then, obviously. We've had multiple expansions, the release of Cyberpunk, and the launch of a wildly successful Netflix TV show. And so, from developer CD Projekt Red's perspective, returning to The Witcher 3 today with a new update is a unique opportunity. A chance to create the ultimate version of The Witcher 3, designed for the influx of new fans who might not have yet played it. The good news, having flown to CDPR's offices in Warsaw myself, this last week for a preview event to go hands-on with the updated PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X versions, this update very much looks to be delivering on that promise. Honestly, my full tech breakdown will just have to wait until nearer release on the 14th of December. What I have today though, well, I have a page full of info on what to expect on PS5, Series X, S and PC. Alas, no direct capture was allowed at the event, but CDPR did kindly provide me with their own capture of the first 15 minutes on PS5 and Series X versions. In fact, we got both consoles on both their performance and ray tracing modes, covering all the bases there. So, a huge thank you to the team for sending that over. As always with early preview capture, it's worth stressing all of this is still being optimized and the final release may be improved further, but still, The Witcher 3 on new systems impressed hugely from the 4 hours I played it, not just in the visual upgrades on PS5 and Series X, though that is a big part of it obviously, but also in the significant quality of life improvements, like the revised camera and faster controls for using signs. All told, the game really does look and run better than ever before. Okay, to the basics. On PS5 and Series X you get two modes, a 60 frames per second performance mode and a 30 FPS ray tracing mode. The addition of these two modes is really the most transformative part of the release, visually speaking. Each uses AMD's FSR 2.1 to construct a 4K image, something we saw introduced in Cyberpunk recently, with dynamic resolution scaling in place as well. And I've got to say, FSR 2.1 is really a big upgrade over the older anti-aliasing methods CDPR used in The Witcher 3, like FXAA and TAA, which tended, you may have noticed, to struggle with flickering on grassy elements. Either way, to focus on the 30 FPS ray tracing mode first, with RT mode enabled, both PS5 and Series X get two forms of ray tracing. Firstly, there's ray trace global illumination, which allows lighting to bounce realistically between surfaces, shading and colouring the corners of its world. And secondly, there's ray traced ambient occlusion, adding huge amounts of depth to the scene, especially interiors, with more believable shading. I will admit, comparisons here don't fully do the RTAO or RTGI justice. In my hands-on experience though, the difference is huge if you know where to look, mostly interiors. Switching between the modes on the fly, on RT mode, I spotted reddish hues appearing under the rocky outcrops of the White Orchard. Thanks to global illumination, the colour of the earth bounces back onto the sand, and likewise the lighter sand colour bounces up to the rocks. All of that disappears on the alternative performance mode. A subtle touch, but very natural and beautifully implemented. And likewise, the ray-traced ambient occlusion of the RT mode makes a colossal difference to the game's use of shading. For interiors like barns, houses, it transforms the scene almost beyond recognition at points, adding huge amounts of natural depth in shadow. So, all told, the deeper shadows and bounce lighting fill the space on RT mode to create a much richer scene, albeit, yes, with a 30 FPS cap. A few other points on ray tracing. On PS5 and Series X, of course, we get RTGI and RTAO, but PC users will be glad to hear they actually get one better. Two better, in fact, with ray-traced reflections and ray-traced shadows also added to the above in the settings menu. All of which means you get 4 ray tracing technologies available on PC with the upcoming update, which is amazing news if your PC's up to the task. The full ray tracing feature set is reserved just for PC then, but PS5 and Series X do still get a huge improvement to reflections. How so? Well, if you enable the ray tracing mode in The Witcher 3, both PS5 and Series X engage a much improved form of screen space reflections. It's a new approach. An SSR technique worked from the ground up to deliver much higher resolution reflections than we had on the last gen consoles or previously on PC. So check this out. In comparing the RT mode on Series X with the older Xbox One X version, large water bodies like lakes present with a much crisper mirror image. And better still, the new SSR actually applies to many more surfaces than before. I noticed it across the puddles in Novigrad City, allowing you now to actually see NPCs reflected as they walk by, and also metals on armor now have SSR applied. The old SSR technique, which is still used on PS5 and Series X's performance mode, is much more limited in scope, lower resolution, and reliant on cube mapping for puddles and other surfaces. So even if the reflections aren't ray traced, and that is a shame, the new SSR technique in this RT mode is leagues ahead of what we had before. The ray tracing mode is a winner, so long as you're okay with a 30 FPS cap. But what about the 60 FPS mode? Well, in my experience, the 60 FPS performance mode on PS5 and Series X delivers exactly what's promised. Now, according to the team at CDPR, hitting 60 FPS took a lot of optimization to work smoothly. The new additions like foliage, the 4K textures, made this updated version of The Witcher 3 more taxing to run, raising the requirements over the original 2015 version. Even so, playing the White Orchard segment shows little to no drops on either PS5 or Series X beyond perhaps a few one-off frame dips. That said, just going by eye, the Novigrad City Centre in the preview build I played did drop below 60 FPS, though we'll see how it holds in the final release. Now, regardless of which of these modes you choose, performance or ray tracing, there are visual upgrades that are fixed in place on each compared to the last gen PS4 or Xbox One releases. So, for example, foliage is completely reworked across the world with brand new assets. Here's a look at the Xbox Series X version on its ray tracing mode, though the performance mode has the same benefit in foliage. Also interestingly, I'm told PC does get a new graphics preset for many settings called Ultra Plus. Now, Ultra Plus allows for even longer draw distances, denser grass, all of which will be possible after the update rolls out. Next up is the improved 4K textures and model quality, both immediately apparent on both modes. You'll notice world textures are visibly sharper, clearer on the floor of the White Orchard, and meanwhile, materials for skin in close-ups of Geralt on Series X, for example, have much more pop compared to the older Xbox One X release. Not every surface is updated, but most. One decent comparison, if we zoom by 2 times here, is the detailing on the tankards in the first tavern. Between the older Xbox One X version and the newer Series X release, it's a pretty visible upgrade that applies widely across the game. There are myriad other improvements too, visual tweaks and quality of life improvements. For one, we get new weather states. Also, Geralt has higher detail self-shadows in gameplay as well as cutscenes, where before it was just cutscenes. And as mentioned, quality of life improvements are abundant. The new camera is easy to see in comparison, but there's also a newer, quicker system for casting signs, plus map filters and a faster herb looting system. And it's worth saying, last-gen versions will benefit here as well. PS4, Xbox One, and even Switch are due to get an update with these quality of life upgrades, plus the content related to The Witcher 3's TV show. In terms of visual upgrades, the last-gen consoles will of course stay as they are to avoid upsetting the optimization for the game. In a similar vein, I'm told the new camera mode will only be on PS5, Series X, S and PC, since the drawn-out camera potentially has a performance impact. This is just a taster of what's to come, of course. From what we're seeing though, in comparison, PS5 and Series X hand in a near identical delivery of the updated The Witcher 3. A question mark does, however, hang over the Series S version, which alas I didn't get a chance to test. What I do know though is there's a 60fps and a 30fps mode on Series S, no ray tracing included, where the 30fps quality mode enables a higher resolution target. That's all I have to go on. So we'll have to see how it matches up with Series X and PS5 in other settings, the foliage, textures and more with the final release. Again, there's much more to see when the update lands on the 14th of December. As an entirely free update though, it's really shaping up to be a comprehensive one and I'm looking forward to seeing more. But that's all from me today. If you did enjoy this preview of The Witcher 3 on PS5 and Series X, do feel free to like or subscribe and don't forget to hit that bell for instant notifications as any new video lands. To get a high quality version of this video, check out our Patreon at digitalfoundry.net, and to get in touch as ever, just use Twitter. But from me for now, thanks for watching.